Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 Grand Ross, but the rock never stops. We're back from the All-Star break, the Detroit Pistons versus the Indiana Pacers. It was a tale of two halves. And I'm curious which one y'all believe the Detroit Pistons really are. I'm going to dive into that in this video. If you enjoy it, smash that like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Look, there's like kind of a cliche term when it comes to the NBA that everybody kind of uses, and it goes, this is a make or miss league. And this game was simply that. The Detroit Pistons missed a whole lot of shots in the first half, and the Indiana Pacers made a whole lot of shots in the first half. And unfortunately, a lot of the missed shots led to easy opportunities for the Indiana Pacers. Now, coming out of a break, it was interesting to listen to the commentator, both of them actually, where one of the first things that they said was, coming out of a long break, the first thing you want to see is the team ready to compete? Are they back on that edge, ready to continue in this last back-end stretch of the season? And the Detroit Pistons were not, as a team. Not everybody, but as a team, they were not ready. And the Indiana Pacers took advantage of that, got up to a 30-point lead, and basically never looked back. Now, I do want to point out a few things that I noticed. Definitely some critiques to the team stars, to the Detroit Pistons stars, of Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. And despite his good game, his good scoring game for Cade Cunningham, it was basically almost empty stats. And I think the first point that I want to make about Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey is that it isn't just about how much you score, it's about when you score. It's about your impact on the game and your ability to help control the game with your talent. No one denies how talented they are, but we are taking a hard look at, can they be the type of player that can elevate your team? And to elevate your team, you have to at least be able to match what other stars are doing. You have to be able to make sure that as the other team stars are imposing their will, as their strategy is being imposed, that your talent propels your team strategies to the forefront to at least be able to match the tide that the other team is making with their talent and their schemes and their X's and O's and game plan. Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey were not able to do that in the first half of this game. If I'm honest with you, Asar Thompson was really the only player who truly showed up for a full game, to play the full game. Simone Fontecchio didn't show up in the first half, missed a bunch of wide open looks. Even though he was aggressive and he was consistent in that aggressiveness, I will give him that. But he missed really good looks. Asar Thompson should have easily had about 10 assists in this game. He set guys up off his drives, and I love how they're utilizing him, especially in transition after he gets rebounds. He's able to use his speed and athleticism to get into the front court and to be able to get into the paint, collapse that defense, create passing angles and opening for shooters, and they just couldn't knock it down in the first half. And that led to a big deficit that they had to overcome. But not just that, the first half saw some really concerning things, for me, from Monty Williams. And that was his attempt to give Malachi Flynn and Shake Milton playing time that was not deserved, playing time that they had not put in the equity in this team in order to say that they should have been playing more minutes than Marcus Sasser. I'm actually pretty livid about this point. Marcus Sasser has been here the whole season. Marcus Sasser has been balling this whole season. Marcus Sasser has shown up and played his heart out this entire season. And for some reason, all of a sudden, Monty Williams wants to have him take a back seat to Malachi Flynn and Shake Milton. Look, I'm not adverse to playing those guys around Marcus Sasser and James Wiseman, but none of them should be replacing their minutes. None of them are a part of this team's core moving forward. And if you're going to give Evan Fournier those minutes, which I'm not mad at all because of his talent, I think he was getting his legs back in this game. He hasn't played for a year and a half from playing with the Knicks, right? But he's a really good talent who's able to create and play make from the perimeter. Definitely another pick and roll threat. Reminds me a lot of Bojan Bogdanovic. It's almost like they got 2 for 1. Evan Fournier and Simone Fontecchio are both very much so like Bojan Bogdanovic in terms of their play style, shooting ability, playmaking, facilitating, skill level. I think it's a great contribution to this team. But damn it, Monty Williams, you got to choose. Who do you want? You want to play Fournier or you want to play Shake? You want to play Malachi Flynn or you want to play Shake? You want to play Troy Brown or you want to play Evan Fournier or Shake or Flynn? You need to figure that out because none of those guys are more talented and have given more and shown you more than Marcus Sasser. The fact that he only played 10 minutes, hit both of his threes. And if y'all notice, when he took him out in the first half, I don't know if he was blaming him for TJ McConnell getting off, but TJ McConnell is highly slept on. He's one of the better backup point guards in this league who almost kind of like Tyus Jones, where if your starting point guard goes down, best believe TJ McConnell is going to have your team running right. There is not a big drop off. All that's to say is he took out Marcus Sasser and that team lost their scoring punch. They lost that playmaking punch. They lost that guy who was able to get into the paint consistently, create open looks for himself, and knock down shots. Malachi Flynn shot 1 of 5 and played more minutes than Marcus Sasser. Shake Milton played almost the same amount of minutes as Marcus Sasser. No assists, no rebounds. Marcus Sasser ended the game with 9 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and a steal. That is egregious. That should never happen again. But fast forward to the second half. They did a great job climbing back into this game. The Detroit Pistons were able to chip away at this lead. I think they caught Indiana sleeping. I mean, they were up by 30 points. So I understand why they may not have come out in that second half ready to go. But either way, the Detroit Pistons started knocking down shots. Cade Cunningham started getting himself going. And the thing is, look, Cade, if you're going to be the man, you got to be consistent. Jaden Ivey, you've got to be consistent. You've got to be able to tell that your team is falling behind and say, no, not on my watch. While I'm in this game, I'm pedal to the metal. I'm going hard. And I'm going to impose my will, my talent to stem this tide and keep this game within reach. And they weren't able to do that in the first half. The second half, Cade Cunningham turned it on. He started playmaking, started knocking down shots. Simone Fontecchio started knocking down shots, and it started looking a lot better. The bench came in once again led by Marcus Sasser and Evan Fournier. And James Wiseman had some frustrating moments in terms of his rotations and things of that nature, but he was a factor. He was an undeniable factor in the second half. Troy Brown contributed, and Asar Thompson, who was left in this game. He honestly, like I said in the beginning, was the most consistent player in this game for the Detroit Pistons. But I do believe that Monty Williams failed to give him that rest that allowed him to utilize his role to its maximum to close out the game. He has to give him a breather. He's got to find it, and that might be Troy Brown's role. Troy Brown, come in and give us a Asar Thompson role, Swiss Army knife. Give him a spell so that when you're trying to close out the game, Asar Thompson can be flying all over, be disruptive, and create scoring opportunities in transition while you're trying to close out the game. But this was the egregious part. When they got the game down to 11-point deficit, from 30, I think it was like 31 points was the maximum that they was down in this game, 31 to 32. And then they got it down to 11. And you saw the game go from 11 to 13, 11 to 14, 12. And at that moment, I said, this is time to get Cade Cunningham back in the game. It was about 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It was like 9:48, somewhere around there. And the team was pushing. They were right on that edge and needed somebody to propel them to get over that double-digit deficit hump. And that was the time to bring in Cade. Monty Williams failed to do that. Not only did he fail to do that, he took out Marcus Sasser and put in Malachi Flynn. And that unit had no scoring punch. And then all of a sudden, the Indiana Pacers put in Pascal Siakam. Benedict Mathurin starts to get off. And now that 11, 12 point deficit all of a sudden goes up to 15, 16. By the time Cade is getting back in the game, it was 16, 18. Cade doesn't get back into the game till around the 6+ minute mark. That was another fail by Monty Williams in this game. Because if you're trying to build around this core, that was when you were supposed to put them in the game 3 minutes earlier when it was close to a 10-point deficit, when it was at 11 or 12. That was the moment to say, you've got it going, Cade. Get in there, push them over the hump. Stay in there with Marcus Sasser as another dynamic playmaker and shot maker. And you guys bring us home. Jaden Ivey should have been brought in for Shake Milton. I can understand leaving in Fournier. But Fournier played 17 and a half minutes. Marcus Sasser played 10 on the dot. That's BS. I'm not mad at leaving in James Wiseman, but I would have brought in Jalen Duren in sooner. So this team has some things to shore up. We know that they have talent. We know that they have skill. We know that they have the ability to stay with teams. But how this team is managed, Monty Williams, has got to improve. I know you can have set minutes, distribution, and all that stuff. Look, hey, when it comes to winning time and it's the fourth quarter, all that goes out the window. It's who's playing the best. And if you haven't been able to identify that from watching the first 3 quarters of this game, then that's a fail on you. That's a fail on you. Now, I know in the past you've had guys like Chris Paul. You've had guys like Drew Holiday, Tyreek Evans, game managers, shot makers, guys who can control the tempo and do a lot of that for you. Cade Cunningham is supposed to be that guy to run offense for you, to make sure that things are running smoothly and guys are in position and getting the opportunities to stay in games or to win games for you. But you're going to have to hold this team's hand until they get there. Monty Williams, I need a little bit better. But hopefully, who this team is going to be moving forward is closer to what we saw in the second half. And I think it will be, because if the first half was any indication, when they've had shot makers, especially when they still had Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks, when they had those shot makers and those playmakers around Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, this team looked damn good. They were able to stay with any team offensively. And even though they had to fine-tune a lot of that defense, I think they showed you what they can be. And considering Cade, even during that time when they had Bojan, maybe like post-Christmas up until the All-Star break, Cade really hadn't found his legs. I think this is the first big game he's had since probably that Christmas break. And so what I think is going to happen the rest of the season, I think the second half is more of what we're going to see, with everything clicking, with Fontecchio, with Fournier coming in, and then with Wiseman, and then with Thompson and things of that nature. But as always, I want to know what you all think. Which half is going to be the Detroit Pistons? What else do you think this team needs to get together? Because I also say, hey, Jaden Ivey, I can't leave you out. Appreciate only 1 turnover. You had positive minutes, +6, right? But I need more from you offensively, especially in that first half, right? I appreciate you taking your time and trusting your team and being under control, but only 11 shots? Come on now. Come on now. I need more. You have the talent. I expect more. But as always, this your man 100 Grand, keeping it 100 for y'all. Get at me in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm out. Peace.